Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. So today we are going to talk about how to build effective and strong teams and get them clicking. And we're going to talk about that as Daria Rudnick is the author of Clicking, and she's also been in C-suite positions and helps people internationally speaking as well, but also helping build teams. So my name is Charisse Walker, your host, and without further ado, Daria, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
First of all, thanks, Charisse, for having me on the show. I love listening to your podcast, and now being here is an honor. My name is Daria Rudnick, and I'm a team architect and executive leadership coach with background as chief people officer, ex-Deloitte professional. And I did work with companies across all 6 continents, to be honest, helping build offices in new countries, leading mergers and acquisitions and cultural transformations. And from that experience, I've learned the great power of strong teams. Like if you have a strong team in the organization, any challenge, including, and whether it's COVID or financial crisis or military conflict, you can survive that when you have a strong team. And when you don't have that team, your business might not be in existence anytime soon.
Amen to that. I know somebody close to me, she tells me as the world turns, that old soap opera that used to be on, that it's as this company turns because there's so much drama. Recently, the boss sends out something saying we're replacing this with a marketing company, right? And so there was 4 or 5 people involved. And so their jobs, they were worried about it. And then the next day is like, sorry, I just accidentally sent out, I used AI to write this post. I didn't proof it. So we're not changing that. Like it's constantly up and down. And it's like, how can you build a team and create a culture when you're threatening people's jobs all the time? And so tell us about that, because the leader really does set the tone, I believe, and the leadership team. And so what are some of the common things that you see lately that they're making fatal flaws that they could tweak to improve?
I'm biased in some way because people I work with are those who want to change, those who want to be better leaders. And what they're bringing is, and when they're sharing, I want to be a good leader for my team. I want to support my team. I want to build my business. I want my business to grow. So these are all very positive intentions. I totally support that. But what they're doing, like together with that, is like you said, they're sending some contradictory messages or no messages at all. And it's like, okay, we go through the mergers and acquisition, like we do the merger process. Tell people something. I don't know what to tell. What could I tell? I don't have all the answers. What if I tell them it'll change? What if I tell them something else will happen? I'd rather be quiet. And I hear that a lot. I've worked with CEOs while being chief people officer. I work with CEOs while being an executive coach. And that's a common thing. The thing is, when you don't go out there, when you don't talk to people, they still talk to each other. And what they will imagine, what they'll think, what their brain will create is much worse than whatever you have to tell them. So going out there and saying, hey, I don't have all the answers yet. Here's what I know. Things will change. Just be clear. Don't make any promises, because that's another thing that leaders want to do. They want to be overly positive. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to keep all the people. We'll all have their job. Well, no. Things are changing. So be clear and transparent. Some people might have to go, but we will do everything to help them find a new job. We will do everything to find them replacement within our company. We will do everything to support this transition. So this clarity removes tension and anxiety from people, and it's the very important job of leaders. Be transparent in your communication.
Yes, the more clear and honest you can be with your people, that builds trust. Would you agree?
In business, the more transparent you are, the more aligned your team is. And what you need to do, you need alignment. You need all the people to do the same thing, to serve your client, to fulfill your mission. And you can only achieve that when you have this clarity, when you have this transparency and trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the things that you do when you go into a company?
Well, I'll tell you like a story, not just theoretical. But like there was a company, it's a VC fund. There were two founders who were overloaded. They had so many requests from the team. Team was coming to them for every single question, like how do we do that? How do we do this? And they said, okay, go figure it out on your own. Do it yourself. They were kind of trying to let go, but the team couldn't do that. They had conflicts. They couldn't agree. What they did have is they all wanted to build strong company. They wanted to serve their clients. What they also had is they had different opinions what best serving their clients means. So they were going different roads. So when I joined the team and when I joined the company, they were about to lose their major client because there were multiple people reaching out to their client, asking the same questions all over again. And they would say, okay, I'm tired of that. I don't want to go into this project. I'm going to cut it off. What we did is we first got clarity on what is the goal? What is your shared purpose? What is it you're trying to achieve? So that everyone has the same wording of how they describe it. Because before that, they were different ideas, but not the same. Now they had one clear purpose. Okay, we're serving these people with this product and we're creating this kind of impact. The second thing is we started to build trust. And it's an ongoing process, obviously. You can't just come in and build trust. But people start talking to each other, getting to know each other personally, because again, it's a remote team. They didn't have a lot of communication offline. They didn't know each other on a personal side, on a personal level. So kind of building this foundation helped them build trust. The third one was the critical one. For this team, and for many teams, actually, it is very important. It's integrated work, how they work together as a team. What are their team norms? And here comes, that's my role, and that's what I'm responsible for. And they found that they had tasks that had two owners, and they also had tasks and processes that had no owners. And if somebody was picking them up and kind of thinking, okay, I'll do that because I'm engaged and I want my company to succeed, but it's not my job. So, I mean, you can imagine how they were doing this job, being frustrated and angry because they were thinking that product team was thinking it's marketing job, marketing was thinking it's sales job, and things like that, blaming each other. So being very clear about what you do, who's doing that what, how do you decide when something is a gray area and you don't know, how do you get together and decide who's doing that? That was the major change for the team. And the fourth one was how they make decisions, about collaborative decisions. What decisions can be made by the team and what decisions need to be made by the founders. And that was one of the biggest problems because team didn't know, okay, can I make this decision? Should I go to the founders to confirm? Should I not? And founders, sometimes they wanted them to make decisions. But again, at some point they would, okay, I wish I knew that before you made this decision. So they got together and agreed, okay, these are decisions that we need to confirm with the founders, and these are decisions that we can collaboratively agree on. And that's something that sales, like chief marketing officer or chief sales officer, they decide on their own, and they don't care what other thinks about it because that's their area of expertise. And finally, they agreed on how they get feedback from each other and how they learn together and how they keep the progress that they've achieved. So we basically went with them through 5 pillars of this Click framework, which my book Clicking is about. That is clear purpose, linking connections, integrated work, collaborative decisions, and knowledge sharing. Things that will make your team click.
I love that. See, I'm all about acronyms, so that's great. And the fact that you used the word to get it clicking together, but now it actually stands for something is super easy to remember that way. So that's fantastic. Okay, so what made you decide to write the book?
Well, I mean, I wanted to write a book for quite a long time. And the first reason was I just want to write a book.
Yeah.
I just want to be an author. I just want to hold something in my hands. That was number one. And that didn't make me an author. I started writing my book in 2022, didn't finish it. Then I started writing in 2024, I didn't finish it. Only when I had clear idea, what is it I'm writing about? Who is it I'm writing for? Like, who is my audience? What do they need? When I had that, I knew the steps. I knew exactly what to write. In 2020, okay. some days. But okay, I started writing the book, and then 9 months later, I finished it. So it took me about 5 years from the idea I want to write a book about clicking, about how teams click, to actually publishing it. So last August, it was published.
Congratulations, because that does take a long time. Speaking
Yes.
of offer. Yeah. And then getting it out there. Because once you write it, you're like, oh, now I need to let people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. All right. And so getting back to like you used to be in the C-suite and you were the only woman and female in the room. So what made you decide to quit that in the industry or the business and go out on your own?
I was very ambitious in my career. And I became chief people officer pretty quickly. It was a telecom company. And I was the only woman in the C-suite. And I enjoyed that. But being chief people officer involves like lots of things. And it's not just things that I like doing. So I kind of fulfilled my ambition of going up to that level. And I worked as a chief people officer for companies for quite a while after that. But I wanted to focus on what I can do best and what I love doing best, which is helping leaders build strong teams. And the more I was into that space, the more experience I got, again, in mergers and acquisitions and transformational projects, the more clear it was to me that why helping leaders build strong teams is important. How it helps not only leaders, but the teams. And not only teams, but organizations. And like, to be honest, not only organizations, but their customers, because I was once working with a company and their main competitive advantage was how they built relationships with their customers. And they were acquired based on that competitive advantage. And the parent company wanted to adopt this culture. Well, unfortunately, that didn't happen. And unfortunately, I couldn't help them because the executive team was not a team. It was a group of people from 5 up to 30 people. And no one knew, like when we say executive team, no one knew like who's on that team. They knew that there was a kind of smaller circle, but more tight. And they knew there were like 15 some meetings for 15 people, and there were some meetings for 30 people. And how do they decide? How do like CEO decides who goes to what meeting? No one understood. So there was no clarity on like what is the team. There was no clarity on what is our purpose as a team. Again, because there are so many people and they have so many different agendas. There was no clarity on that. There were a lot of back and forth, and leader, like the CEO, was trying to be involved in everything and make all the decisions and didn't want to let go. And kind of the toxic team members were, well, I know they're toxic, but I know them well. I know their bad sides. So I can live with that. I can manage them. That's not going to happen. Unfortunately, this team was absorbed. I mean, the team was let go, the executive team was let go, but the company was absorbed into the parent company. And this transition to customers, I mean, to this culture didn't survive the way it used to be. So yeah, there were some sad stories of unsuccessful. When you don't have a strong team, I mean, you probably disappear.
Yeah. No, that's true. Run into the ground is what I say. Okay, so working in that culture and then helping people in 6 different continents, what are some of the things that you've learned and patterns that you've seen?
The most interesting thing I've noticed while working with leaders across cultures, across continents, I was working with leaders in Japan, in Australia, in India, in Zimbabwe, in Peru, in Nicaragua, is that when we talk about teamwork and team culture, what we should focus on is on those people and not putting labels, like cultural labels to teams. Like I have a team, like part of the team in US, part of the team in India. Okay, like the India, they should have certain type of culture, and Americans should have another type of culture. No, they don't. Because in the US team, you might have people who came from India. On the Indian team, you might have people who've been learning, like getting high education in Cambridge. And there's the whole mix. So before like labeling people with their culture that you think they have, you can like absolutely learn them as personalities. Because like how many people you have on your team? 6, 8, 12. I mean, it's not hundreds of people you need to know about. Just get to know those people without putting any labels, and then you'll be able to build relationship based on them, their experience, their preferences, their personalities, rather than the cultural label that you could You could put them there.
That's a good point. Because we are more of an international, a world now that we're so connected because you're in Israel, I'm here in Utah, and we're talking, right? And so to think that you're right, just because of the way you look, the way you talk, the way you act, you're a certain way, that's a good point. We have to say, no, that's not true anymore. So that's good. All right. Most surprising thing that the most surprising experience that you've had doing this now.
Well, that's, again, I don't know, maybe it's not that surprising, but the question that I hear a lot from leaders is, and I hear that more and more, like within the few years, it's that we want more meaning. We want to do more meaningful work. And I probably didn't hear that much 10, 15 years ago as I hear it now. Because people are looking for meaning in what they do. They're searching for meaning. They don't want to play politics. Some people say, I could go to VP level, but do I want to? I mean, what would I have to do? Would I have to sacrifice my values for the political gains? Or if I do go that road, how can I sustain myself? How can I still be the person I am without compromising what I believe in, what my values, my core strength and things like that. So people really need meaningful work, not just work.
That's true, because I know a lot of people that they could become a manager, but they don't want to because they don't want the headache and they don't want to have to play the politics game. So no, that's a good point. I was going to ask you a question and I totally lost it. Let me just see, because I have a list of things, because it's something I meant to ask. And I'm like, I know that every listener is going to, and now I don't remember it. So it's okay. Are you a mom?
Yes, I have 2 daughters.
Okay, so we'll ask.
One is almost a teenager.
All right. So as a mompreneur, now that you have transitioned, how long ago did you leave the actual corporate job?
Well, my entrepreneurial journey started during my maternity leave.
Okay.
Because that was the first time when I started my business. I was running a tech company. It was basically helping parents teach the young kids language, the babies, like age 0 to 5. Because I was teaching my kids English, and I like doing things together with other people. So I kind of got together in a community where we learn together how we can teach our babies English so that they grow up bilingual from day one. I did that because I felt that on maternity leave, I didn't want to. I wanted to do something. I wanted to create something. Being just a mom was not enough for me. It is an exhausting, tiring, very important job, but it's not like it cannot be only that. It can't be only that for me. So that's why I started this business. I ran it for about 3 years, but then again, I came back to corporate and again was a chief people officer for some companies for some time. And about 4 years ago, I quit my corporate job. Probably for good. I don't know. But since then, I run my business as a leadership coach, HR consultant, and team coach.
Okay. So your daughters have seen you working that 9 to 5 job, and then they've seen you also be the entrepreneur. So how do you juggle it? And knowing now what you know, would you do anything differently?
I mean, probably not. Probably not. Because I like that they see me working. I like that they know that I'm working and doing something that's important for other people. They ask me what I do. And now it's easy for me to explain what I do than when I was in the HR.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Okay, I'm a manager. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
We understand. So yeah, and they're big now, so they kind of give me this flexibility of helping them when they need, working when I need. It is definitely very hard when they're little ones. So now I'm pretty satisfied with how things went.
Oh, that's good. So do you have like a set schedule and you're like, here's my work hours, or are you a little more flexible?
Get it?
Well, because I know I've interviewed some people and they're like, I'm done at 3 o'clock. And I'm like, I am impressed that you do that. But other people, me, it was 8 o'clock last night. And I'm like, I need to go. I mean, we were all home. They're on spring break, but it's like, I got to be done. I could keep going, but I got to be done.
Yeah, well, there are 2 things. Like the things that like when you need to like stop working because the work never done. But for me, I value flexibility. So when people say, for example, hey, we offer some like employees 4 days work week. I say, I mean, I don't need 4 days work week. I need 6 days work week, but so that I can play around. Yeah. I start my work day at 8 a.m. I finish it at 8 or 9 p.m. And I can go to gym in between. I can take my daughter to her dance class. I can take them to the dentist. I can go to I mean, I'm very flexible with my schedule. So I plan the most important jobs that I need to do. I plan meetings. I have everything on my calendar. I have on my calendar, I have family events on my calendar, doctors, like anything, taking care of myself, my personal massage, my personal gym, everything is on my calendar and I can move things around, but I really love this flexibility.
I agree. No, that's true. Very true. So do you still go and coach people in different continents or do you stay where you're at?
I work remote. I like 99% of my work is remote. So I coach leaders and I coach teams and especially remote teams online because, well, luckily we have lots of great tools that help us work together, collaborate, understand each other better online.
And how do you get your clients?
It's mostly referrals, people who know me, who recommend me, some partners. I like building collaborations with other coaches or people in other areas that we can actually support each other in growth. Some people are focused on sales training. I don't do sales training, but they also need leadership coaching. So we can come in together and help on both of those areas. So collaborations, referrals, partnerships.
I love that. And that's true. That's pretty much the backbone of any business. You can go spend money on advertising, but the referrals, it's much stronger and much quicker. So that's great. All right. So if somebody, like one of our listeners, wanted to find you thinking, okay, you know what? I do need help clicking my team together, or as I'm getting started, I want to start off correctly. How would they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to my website, dariarudnick.com. I'm very open to connections on LinkedIn. Reach out, send me a message. Let's have a chat. My book is available on Amazon and everywhere. Books are sold.
Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And Unbreakable Moms, making sure that your team is running smoothly. I cannot tell you how easily your life could be if you make sure that you build it correctly. And so having somebody coach you to get it back on track or to get started is something that I highly recommend. So contact Daria if you have any questions, and otherwise go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.